The edge of extinction. Commander Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, Earth's most advanced and perhaps final warship. Through the view screen, the endless void of space stretched before her, dotted with distant stars that once represented hope and discovery. Now they only reminded her of how far the Crixian Dominion had pushed humanity to the brink of extinction. "Status report," she demanded, her voice steady despite the weight pressing down on her shoulders. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Chen looked up from his station. "Stealth systems operating at maximum efficiency, Commander. Power distribution optimal. Quantum displacement drive ready for activation on your command." Voss nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. After 5 years of brutal war, Earth's once proud fleet had been reduced to scattered remnants. Colonies had fallen one by one, their populations either enslaved or eradicated. The Crixians' technological superiority had proven overwhelming, their hive-mind military structure making them devastatingly efficient in combat. "Dr. Nakamura, what's the status of Project Sundering?" Voss asked, turning to the science officer. The scientist's face appeared on a nearby screen, dark circles under her eyes betraying weeks of sleepless nights. "Final calibrations complete, Commander. The quantum resonance disruptor is as ready as it will ever be. But I must emphasize again, this is entirely theoretical. We've never been able to test it at full capacity." "Theoretical is all we have left," Voss replied grimly. 6 months ago, a desperate raid on a Crixian forward base had yielded unprecedented intelligence. The Dominion's military operated through a sophisticated quantum network, linking every soldier, ship, and weapon to a central hub on their homeworld of Crixia Prime. This neural web gave them perfect coordination, but potentially created a critical vulnerability. If the hub could be disrupted, the entire empire might collapse. Humanity had poured its remaining resources into the Prometheus and Project Sundering, a weapon designed to target and destroy the quantum connections that bound the Crixian military together. "Navigation. Time to insertion point," Voss asked. Lieutenant Sophia Rice responded immediately. 12 hours at current velocity, Commander. We're approaching the outer defensive perimeter of the Crixian hegemony." Voss turned to her XO, Commander David Okafor. "Prepare the crew for deep stealth protocols. From this point forward, we're ghosts." Okafor nodded and began issuing orders. The lighting on the bridge dimmed to a red glow as non-essential systems powered down. The Prometheus possessed revolutionary stealth technology, quantum displacement fields that bent light and sensor readings around the ship, rendering it nearly invisible to Crixian detection systems. Nearly, but not completely. If they got too close to an enemy vessel or outpost, they would be detected. And once discovered, the Prometheus, despite its advanced design, couldn't withstand a concentrated attack from the Dominion fleet. Voss retreated to her ready room, allowing herself a brief moment of solitude. On her desk sat a small holographic projector, which she activated with a touch. An image appeared, Earth as it once was, blue and vibrant. The current reality was far different. Major cities hidden under protective domes, billions living in underground shelters, resources dwindling. This mission was humanity's last hope. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. "Commander, we're detecting unusual movement in Sector 47, Chen's voice reported. "A Crixian battle group has altered course." Voss returned to the bridge immediately. "Show me." The tactical display revealed a formation of Crixian warships moving in perfect synchronization. 8 destroyers and a dreadnought, changing vector to intercept a route that would bring them dangerously close to the Prometheus. "Have they detected us?" Voss demanded. "Negative," Chen replied after studying his readings. "Their movement appears to be a standard patrol adjustment, but their new course will bring them within our detection threshold in approximately 30 minutes. Voss considered their options: navigation, plot an alternate route. Rice worked her console, then frowned. "The only viable alternative adds 7 hours to our journey and takes us perilously close to Outpost Crixia 9. Unacceptable, Voss said firmly. Tactical. What about the Ceres Nebula? Could we use it as cover? Lieutenant Amara Osai, the tactical officer, analyzed the stellar charts. The nebula's radiation would mask our signature, but it would also interfere with our stealth systems and potentially damage the quantum resonance disruptor. Dr. Nakamura's voice cut in from engineering. Commander, the disruptor cannot withstand nebula radiation at this stage. The quantum matrices would degrade beyond repair. Voss stood silent for a moment, weighing their increasingly limited options. The Crixian battle group continued its approach, moving with the eerie precision that had made them such formidable opponents. Commander, Chen said suddenly, I've been analyzing their movement patterns. The Crixians operate with mathematical precision. Their patrols follow exact algorithms. If we can predict their pattern, we can find the gap, Voss finished. Do it. Chen worked frantically, running simulations based on known Crixian patrol behaviors. There, he said finally, pointing to a small window in the tactical display. If we increase speed for the next 18 minutes, then go completely dark for 6 minutes precisely as we pass through this coordinate, we should slip between their sensor ranges. It was risky. Increasing speed meant generating more energy, making them more detectable. Going completely dark meant losing all defensive capabilities temporarily, but the alternative was certain detection. Make it happen, Voss ordered. The Prometheus surged forward, its advanced engines pushing it faster while maintaining stealth protocols. As they approached the critical juncture, Voss gave the order. All systems dark. Now. The bridge plunged into near-total darkness as every system except life support and minimal navigation powered down. The ship drifted silently through space, passing between the Crixian vessels like a ghost. On the bridge, no one spoke, barely daring to breathe as they watched the enemy ships on passive sensors. For 6 agonizing minutes, they floated helplessly. A Crixian destroyer passed within kilometers of their position, close enough that they could see its lights through the viewports. The alien vessel's sensors swept over them, and for a heart-stopping moment, it seemed to pause. Then it continued on its programmed path, oblivious to the human ship that held the weapon of its destruction. Power restoration in 3, 2, 1. Okafor counted down, and the Prometheus hummed back to life. Relieved sighs echoed across the bridge. Well done, everyone, Voss said quietly. Continue on course. As they proceeded deeper into Crixian space, they encountered and evaded 3 more patrol groups, each time refining their techniques. 8 hours into their journey, they reached the heavily defended inner territories. Commander, Osai reported, long-range scans show unprecedented activity around Crixia Prime. Their entire home fleet appears to be mobilizing. Voss frowned. Have they detected us? Negative. All indications suggest this is unrelated to our presence. Dr. Nakamura joined them on the bridge, her expression troubled. Commander, I've analyzed the communication patterns we're intercepting. The Crixians appear to be preparing for a major offensive, likely their final push to Earth. The timing couldn't be worse. With the home fleet fully mobilized, approaching Crixia Prime would be nearly impossible. Yet if they failed, Earth would fall within weeks. Show me the fleet deployments, Voss ordered. The tactical display revealed dozens of Crixian warships forming into attack groups around their homeworld, preparing to enter faster-than-light travel toward Earth. Chen studied the patterns, then highlighted a section of space. Commander, there's a gap in their coverage here. As ships depart for the offensive, they're creating temporary blind spots in their defense network. Can we exploit it? Voss asked. Possibly, but the window is incredibly narrow, perhaps only minutes before automated defenses compensate. Voss made her decision. That's our approach vector. Navigation, prepare for maximum acceleration on my mark. We'll have one chance at this. The crew prepared for the most dangerous phase of their mission. The Prometheus would need to break stealth, push its engines to the limit and reach the quantum hub before the Crixian defenses could respond. If they failed, there would be no escape. Dr. Nakamura brought up the schematics of the quantum hub on Crixia Prime. Our target is here, the central spire. The quantum resonance disruptor must be deployed within 1 kilometer to ensure maximum effectiveness. That close? Okafor questioned. Their planetary defenses will tear us apart before we get within 10 kilometers. Not if we time it perfectly with their fleet departure, Voss countered. As their ships enter FTL, there will be a massive energy surge that should mask our approach. The waiting was excruciating. They watched as Crixian warships formed up, preparing to depart for their assault on Earth. Voss stood at the center of the bridge, her hand raised, waiting for precisely the right moment. First wave preparing for FTL jump, Chen reported, watching the energy readings spike. Stand by, Voss commanded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. Second wave in position. Energy surge detected. Now. Mark. Voss brought her hand down sharply. The Prometheus dropped its stealth field and accelerated toward Crixia Prime, its engines pushing to maximum capacity. The sudden burst of speed carried them through the temporary gap in the Crixian defenses, riding the wake of the departing warships. Alarms immediately blared across the bridge. Defensive systems have detected us, Osei shouted over the noise. Orbital platforms targeting. Evasive maneuvers, Voss ordered. Stay on course for the hub. The Prometheus rolled and twisted through space, dodging energy beams from the planetary defense grid. The ship shuddered as a glancing hit struck their shields. Shields at 72% and falling, Chen reported. Distance to target, Voss demanded. 8 kilometers and closing, Rise responded. 6 minutes to optimal deployment range. Another hit rocked the ship. Shields at 45%, Chen updated grimly. Crixian interceptors rose from the planet's surface, moving to engage them. The Prometheus's point defense systems activated automatically, destroying the first wave, but more were coming. Commander, Dr. Nakamura called urgently. I've been analyzing the planetary shield configuration. There's a resonance frequency we might exploit, a momentary disruption in their coverage as the energy cycles. Can you time it? Voss asked. Yes, but we'll need to adjust our approach vector by 12 degrees and accelerate precisely when I indicate. Do it, Voss ordered. The ship veered sharply, presenting a smaller profile to the defensive batteries. 3 kilometers from their target, Nakamura shouted, now. The Prometheus surged forward, slipping through a microscopic fluctuation in the planetary shield that lasted less than a second. They were through, but now directly exposed to the full might of the ground-based defenses. All power to forward shields, Voss commanded as energy beams lanced toward them from the surface. The Prometheus shuddered violently. Shields critical, Chen warned. Structural integrity compromised on decks 4 through 6. 1 kilometer to target, Rise announced, her voice steady despite the chaos. Voss turned to Dr. Nakamura. Prepare to deploy the disruptor. As they approached the massive quantum hub, a crystalline structure towering above the Crixian capital, Voss could see the shimmering energy patterns that connected the entire Dominion military. Everything they had worked for came down to this moment. In range, Rise confirmed. Voss took a deep breath. Deploy Project Sundering. The impossible victory. Deploying Resonance Disruptor, Dr. Nakamura confirmed, her fingers dancing across the control panel. The Prometheus shuddered as the weapon activated, sending out invisible quantum waves designed to interfere with the Crixian neural network. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then the crystalline spire before them flickered, its brilliant blue glow faltering. Energy fluctuations detected in the hub, Chen reported, excitement breaking through his professional demeanor. On the tactical display, the effect spread outward like ripples in a pond. Crixian defense platforms suddenly ceased firing. Ground-based weapons went silent. The interceptors pursuing them slowed, then drifted aimlessly. "It's working," Nakamura whispered in disbelief. "The quantum connections are dissolving." The crystalline spire that housed the central hub began to crack, lines of darkness spreading through its structure. Across Crixia Prime, lights flickered and died as the disruption cascaded through their systems, reading massive power fluctuations throughout the planet, OSI reported. Their defense grid is completely offline. But the victory came at a cost. The Prometheus groaned around them, its systems strained to the breaking point by the immense energy required to generate the quantum disruption. "Hull breach on Deck 5, Chen shouted. "Reactor containment at risk." "Disengage the disruptor," Voss ordered. "We've done what we came to do." Nakamura complied immediately, but alarms continued to blare throughout the ship. "Commander, the resonance effect has damaged our warp drive. We can't sustain faster than light travel." Voss's mind raced. They had succeeded beyond their wildest hopes. The Crixian neural network was collapsing. But without warp capability, they were stranded in enemy territory. "What about the displacement drive?" she asked. "Operational, but at reduced efficiency," Chen replied. "We could make one jump, maybe two, but nowhere near enough to reach Earth." Outside, the chaos was spreading. The massive Crixian fleet that had been preparing to attack Earth was now adrift, its ships floating powerlessly or colliding with one another as their hive mind coordination failed. "Commander," Osai called urgently, "I'm detecting energy readings from several Crixian warships. Some appear to be regaining limited function, probably reverting to autonomous systems." They had minutes, perhaps hours, before the Crixians could reorganize using conventional command structures. The Prometheus needed to escape before that happened. "Navigation. Find us the nearest safe harbor," Voss ordered. "Somewhere we can make repairs." Rise worked her console frantically. "There's an abandoned mining outpost in the Cirrus system. It's within range of a single displacement jump." "Set course," Voss commanded. As the Prometheus limped away from Crixia Prime, they watched the continued collapse of the once mighty empire. The quantum resonance had spread faster and more completely than even Dr. Nakamura had predicted, affecting not just military systems but civil infrastructure as well. The disruptor created a chain reaction, Nakamura explained, analyzing the data. Their entire civilization was built on quantum-entangled technologies. We didn't just disable their military. We've effectively sent them back to a pre-space age level of technology. The ethical implications hung heavily in the air. They had come to prevent Earth's destruction, not to cripple an entire civilization. But war rarely offered clean moral choices. The Prometheus made its jump to the Cirrus system, materializing near an asteroid field that contained the abandoned mining facility. They had barely enough power to maintain life support and basic functions. "Damage assessment," Voss requested as they secured the ship to the derelict station. "It's not good, Commander," Okafor reported after consulting with the engineering team. "Main reactor operating at 23% capacity. Hull breaches on multiple decks. Warp drive completely offline. Conventional engines operational but at reduced efficiency." "How long for repairs?" "With the resources available here, weeks, possibly months." Voss processed this information. "And Earth?" Chen checked their long-range communications. "We're receiving scattered transmissions. The Crixian fleet never arrived for their final assault. Reports indicate their ships are drifting in space, completely disabled. Earth is safe." A collective sigh of relief passed through the bridge. They had accomplished their primary mission. Humanity would survive. Now they just needed to find a way home. For 3 weeks, the crew worked tirelessly to repair the Prometheus. They salvaged materials from the mining outpost and improvised solutions to seemingly impossible problems. Dr. Nakamura and her team managed to restore partial functionality to the warp drive, enough for short jumps that might eventually get them back to Earth, even if the journey would take months rather than days. As they prepared for departure, long-range sensors detected an approaching vessel. "Crixian?" Voss asked tensely. "Negative," Ose replied, sounding confused. It's human. IFF identifies it as the UES Redemption. Disbelief and hope mingled on the bridge. The Redemption had been reported destroyed in the Battle of Proxima Centauri 2 years ago. When communications established, Captain Liang's face appeared on screen. Commander Voss, I must say this is an unexpected pleasure. We've been searching for you since we detected the collapse of the Crixian network. Captain Liang. How? Voss began. A long story, Liang replied with a tired smile. When the Crixian neural network collapsed, it released several labor colonies, including the one where my crew and I were being held. We managed to commandeer this vessel and have been gathering survivors ever since. The situation on Earth? Voss asked. Improving by the day. The remaining Crixian forces, cut off from their command structure, have either surrendered or retreated. Earth's defense fleet is being rebuilt, and you, Commander Voss, are being hailed as heroes. 6 months later, the Prometheus returned to Earth, escorted by a growing fleet of reclaimed and rebuilt vessels. As they approached the blue planet, Voss stood on the bridge, watching the homecoming with quiet pride. The sight that greeted them was one of remarkable resilience. Orbital stations that had been damaged or abandoned during the war were now bustling with activity. The protective domes over major cities were being dismantled as people returned to the surface. Ships from a dozen species, former subjects of the Crixian Dominion, now free-orbited Earth as part of new diplomatic missions. Commander, Chen said, interrupting her thoughts, Fleet Command is requesting permission to broadcast your address to all Allied worlds. Voss nodded, straightening her uniform. The speech she had prepared was simple but heartfelt, a message about humanity's perseverance, about the strength found in desperate times, and about the responsibility they now faced in helping rebuild a galaxy thrown into chaos by the Crixian collapse. As the Prometheus docked at Earth's main orbital station, crowds gathered to welcome them home. Dr. Nakamura stepped beside Voss as they prepared to disembark. What do you think happens now? The scientist asked. Voss looked out at the stars, no longer symbols of danger, but once again beacons of possibility. Now we rebuild, she said simply. Not just Earth, but everything. The Crixians will recover eventually, though it may take generations. Our task is to ensure that when they do, they find a galaxy united in peace rather than divided by conquest. The aftermath of Operation Sundering transformed the power dynamics of the galaxy. With the Crixian Dominion fractured, dozens of formerly subjugated species reclaimed their independence. Earth, as the architect of this liberation, found itself in a position of unexpected influence. A coalition formed, the Galactic Concordat, with Earth playing a central role not because of military might, but because of the moral authority it had earned. The secret of the quantum resonance disruptor was secured away, deemed too dangerous to ever be used again. Instead, humanity focused its resources on developing technologies to connect rather than divide. Commander Ilara Voss, offered promotion to Admiral, and a desk at Fleet Headquarters, chose instead to remain captain of the Prometheus, now refitted as a diplomatic vessel. Their new mission: to explore the farthest reaches of known space, establishing peaceful contact with civilizations that had hidden themselves away during the Crixian regime. 5 years after the fall of the Dominion, the Prometheus encountered a Crixian colony world that had been developing independently since losing contact with their homeworld. Initially fearful of retribution, Voss instead extended an offer of dialogue and eventual membership in the Concordat. Why would you help us after what we did to your people? The Crixian representative asked. Voss's answer was simple, because that's what makes us human. The one warship that had saved humanity from extinction now served as the bridge to a future where such weapons would never be needed again. The most fitting victory of all.